Now South Africa says it's taking firm action to restore law and order after a wave of anti-immigrant violence in which at least 7 people have been killed. More than 300 people have been arrested across the country in connection with attacks on foreign nationals. The unrest began in the port city of Durban 2 weeks ago and spread to Johannesburg, Africa's economic hub. Well, we spoke to the journalist Vumani Mkhize, who's in Durban.
We're in the 3rd week of the xenophobic violence that's been plaguing South Africa. And in KwaZulu-Natal, where the xenophobic attacks originated, we've had a quiet weekend. On Saturday, President Jacob Zuma cancelled his trip. He was meant to go to Indonesia on a state visit to deal with matters at home. And he went to the Chatsworth refugee camp. The camp has mostly Malawans, Zimbabweans, and some members of the Burundian community. He spoke with them to actually try and reassure them that the South African government is doing all it can to protect them. Unfortunately, most of the foreign nationals who are housed in that camp didn't receive the president's message too well. They're saying, President, you're coming here too late. They had made up their minds that they wanted to go home, and there was nothing that the president could do to actually try and dissuade them. Obviously, these people have been subjected to savage attacks by South Africans who've been chasing them out of their houses, looting their shops, and basically telling them to go back home, go back where they to where they come from. At the refugee camps, buses have started coming in from as far afield as Malawi, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe. And we're getting ambassadors from these countries coming in and to actually document these migrants in order to actually assist in taking them back home. There's a variety of reasons why these xenophobic attacks are happening. South Africa is a multicultural country, but there's a tendency from South African locals in particular to mistrust foreigners from Africa, and there's also a competition for resources. South Africa may seem like it's a very rich country, particularly for Africans, but there's still a lot of poverty involved here. There's a myriad of issues that are affecting local South Africans, and they feel that the foreigners are taking away from their resources, their jobs. So it all comes together and creates this negative foreigner sentiment in the country. And also, we've had irresponsible comments from leaders. The Zulu King, Goodwill Zwelithini, made this speech about 3 weeks ago, calling for foreign nationals in KwaZulu-Natal to pack their bags and leave. Obviously, within this mixture of anti-foreigner sentiment that's pervasive in South Africa, it may have exacerbated the situation. And after the king had made that statement, we saw the beginning of the xenophobic attacks happening in townships throughout KwaZulu-Natal. It has started to quieten down, particularly here in KwaZulu-Natal, where we haven't had an attack since Wednesday. But in Gauteng, in Johannesburg in particular, there have been a continuation of attacks. And so the situation still remains very volatile over there. As we know, this situation, it fluctuates. Some nights it might be quiet and it might pick up again. But there's a large government intervention in order to actually prevent further attacks.